2013's All Hallows Eve. It went straight to DVD. I can see why. But this one's kind of stumped me. Because it ain't bad, it ain't good. I don't know how to feel about this one. But I got it for like $3.99 or even $2.99. But yes, right, so this is actually, I didn't realise this until I put it on. It's actually an anthology. There are 3 short stories with a little wraparound, and I've got to admit, it's kind of shit scary. Not much scares me these days, but holy shit, the clown in this was bad. Okay, so we have Halloween night, and we have a babysitter, and we have the 2 kids. They're about 10, I think, if I remember rightly. We have the babysitter, who is called Sarah. We have the 2 little kids. We have Tia, and we have Timmy, and they've just got home from trick-or-treating, so they've got their candy and all that kind of stuff. And they find that someone has slipped an old VHS tape into Timmy's candy bag. So they pull it out, and they're just chatting away, you know, for like the first 10 minutes, you know, you need to go to bed, we're going to do the pumpkin, you're not watching the tape. So this big spiel about how she's not letting them watch the tape because she doesn't know what's on it, and she really should not have put it on. But she puts it on anyway and says, go over there, I'm going to watch a bit of it and see what it's like. So she puts the tape in, and it's basically quite clear from the beginning that it's going to be something to do with horror. The kids are kind of, well, the boys really into it. The girls are just kind of sitting back and, you know, just kind of watching the tape. So we get into our first short story where we have a young woman at a bus station, and basically Art the Clown shows up. We have a running character throughout these things. He is called Art the Clown, and I'll try and find a photo to put in at the end, as I always put photos at the end. He's fucking scary as shit. Like, really? He's like, for me at least, I mean, don't get me wrong, his makeup wasn't perfect, and he's not like, wasn't the best, but he's up there kind of with Pennywise. He doesn't say anything. It's all done with, you know, miming and stuff like that, but I think it's just because the teeth, and it's all black, and it's just scary as shit. So, he's at the bus station with her, and he's creeping her out, but it's Halloween, so she doesn't think too much on it. She's waiting and waiting, and then he comes and sits next to her. He starts creeping her out with little horn and these little tricks and stuff. He basically kidnaps her. Kidnaps this woman and puts her into a tunnel. I'm assuming it's some kind of like train tunnel. She wakes up with a chain around her neck, and there are 2 other girls there, and they're very scared. They don't know what's going on, but the girls basically say, look, they're going to drag us down one by one through the tunnel, and then we die. So they're all very scared, and then they kind of try to... She kind of tries to rile them up and be like, come on, we can take these guys out, whoever they are, whatever they are, let's go down there. And they don't want to because they know they're going to die. But they go, well, we're going to die anyway. So all this stuff goes on for like 5-10 minutes. And then one of the girls gets pulled down. The other 2 decide that this is the best time to go. So they basically make their way down the tunnel. And it's not too slow moving, I will say this. I mean, they are walking down the tunnel for a bit and trying to escape and stuff. But a really creepy fucking, oh my god, like some sort of thing flushed down the toilet and mutated in the sewers type thing shows up. It's a guy. He's kind of like, I don't know, it's almost like if Toxic Avenger fell in the vat and didn't turn green. That kind of thing. So he's basically there and takes out another one of the girls. The one who got kidnapped, you know, that we saw, she runs off even further. She manages to break her chain. And she runs into another guy who is clearly in on it. Oh my god, it's so, like, cinema tropes and all this crap. But, like, if you are ever kidnapped, horror movies can teach you the best advice. If you're ever kidnapped and you manage to get away from your attacker and you come across a person, don't stop with the first person you see, because they're probably in on it, or they have their own nefarious plan, or they're fucking useless and they usually get taken out straight away and then you after. That's what happens. So the fact that this guy doesn't say anything to her, but she's pleading with him, should have told her in the first 10 seconds of pleading that there was something not right. But she didn't realise. And then she gets taken out again. And then she wakes up on a table, and there's clearly like a Rosemary's Baby thing going on, where it's like a satanic cult of witches or something, and the devil, and they're going to rape her and make a baby. And it ends, this little short segment does end with a demonic C-section. Yeah, it's weird. But yeah, so that we cut back to the living room with our babysitter and our children, and they're all freaked out. Now, why this bitch kept the tape on, I don't know, because she made such a big deal about not letting them see if it was a horror thing, and they just watched a demonic thing get pulled out of a woman or I don't know, man, I tried to block it from my mind. But then she kind of leaves it on. They end up watching the second one. So the second one happens with a young woman who is at a new house, and it's in the country, and she's on the phone to her friend talking about how she's not going to miss the city because out here she gets silence and all this kind of stuff, and that her boyfriend has done a really horrible painting that she doesn't like, so she's kept it covered. She's just walking around in the dark. There's power cut. She's walking around her house. Her boyfriend or her husband is away, and she's waiting for him to come home. So she's getting scared, and it's just a lot of walking around with maybe a jumpy noise or a flash past the camera type thing. I like those if they have a good payoff. This one did not, because we then end up with an alien creature. And I'm not talking like some kind of alien-ish humanoid thing with limbs and stuff. I'm talking like it's a Dalek crossed with the thing from the Black Lagoon, the creature from the Black Lagoon. It's just like a being with like fucking predator shit, like a mask and stuff that looks like a cartoon alien. It was kind of cool for the first couple of minutes because I thought it was going to be scary, but then it just follows her around and makes this really weird breathing noise, and she's just running about trying to get away from it. And she calls her boyfriend, and she starts freaking out over that, and he's trying to send cops to the place because he thinks that she's, the house been broken into, which it has, but it's been by an alien. It doesn't really do anything to her. It does kind of catch her a couple of times, but it doesn't really do anything. And then it does actually manage to grab her, and it pulls her away, and as it's pulling her away and she's freaking out and screaming, she pulls the sheet off of the painting, and it is a painting of Art the Clown, a wonderful, nefarious clown who shows up in every segment. It's actually a shit scary painting. Once again, he's scary. I don't like him. So that cuts out. So there was really no payoff with the second segment. So if you think when you're watching this, if you do give it a watch, that it's going to build up to something, which it should have done, it doesn't, okay? So then we once again cut back to our babysitter, and she sends the kids to bed. She's not letting them watch it anymore, and she starts having these weird little moments where things are a bit creepy around the house, little unexplained little moments, and she starts getting scared herself because she's quite stoic throughout the whole time. We get to our third story where we have a young woman who is driving down a highway or something, like a little back road, and she needs gas, and she goes to the only rest stop that's left. I don't know why I'm using so many Americanisms. We don't call these things like that. She's driving down the frigging road, and she stops at a garage to get petrol, okay? So she stops, and Art the Clown is there straight away, right away in our story, and he has been, this was the only thing, he has been kicked out of the gas station by the attendant because he was smearing crap all over the bathroom walls or something. So yeah, he kicks him out and tells him to piss off basically, and he starts talking to the girl, and she's like a costume designer and she needs to get back, and she asks directions. So the attendant wants to help her, he fills up her car, and then he's gone for a bit and she's waiting for him to come back with the directions. She goes to investigate, and Art the Clown is cutting this guy up. It was awesome. He's got this, he does this silent laughing where he just shakes and puts his hand in front of his face and like points a lot, and it's really creepy. It's awesome guy, great character. But that happens obviously, and she gets shit scared and she runs away. She jumps in a car and she tries to get away from him. But this is a movie, people, and a scary one at that. And this chick's ending is not going to be unicorns and cupcakes. Clearly, it is going to be scary fucking clowns and blood. That is what we get. So she runs away, of course, and of course he can catch up with her. Like, even though it's logically impossible, she's driving away and he's on foot. But it is pretty awesome. She drives past him on the road in a what I think is a little homage to it, actually, with the balloon on the side. So yeah, that happens. And she basically just kind of flags a guy down. She ends up kind of at this place where she gets out of the car, and then they have a little showdown where she does manage to kill Art the Clown, but of course he's not really dead. And then she runs into a guy who can help her and drives away in his car, and then he gets taken out, and then she ends up getting caught. Of course she was going to get caught. We're not stupid. We've seen hundreds of these films. If you're watching my review, you're clearly like a horror buff or something. You will know the trope and you will know what's going to happen. But I must admit the payoff was better in this, because when he catches her and she wakes up, she's had, like, I'm not going to tell you actually. I'm not going to tell you what's happened to her, but it's pretty fucking gross. And it was awesome, and him laughing in the background was even better. So that's it. That was our film, but then we cut back to our wraparound to finish that one off. At this point, during the third movie, the girl managed to get through to the cops, and she called them, but she couldn't hear them. So when we cut back to our babysitter, who is like, oh my god, I need to get this tape out, she gets a phone call, and it's the conversation that the girl had in the video. And she's freaking out because she's like, what? This is impossible. She starts seeing weird little things. Now, this is the decent bit. This is the bit that I was like, okay, people need to see this film. She goes to the TV, and even though the tape is not playing, Art the Clown, there's like a basement scene on the TV, and Art the Clown comes from behind something, like a pipe, and he crawls slowly. Once again, an homage to It, where they're looking through the photo book, and he's coming towards them and puts his hand out. Art comes up to the TV screen and like looks at her, and then he starts banging on the TV screen and smashing the glass so he can get out, and she's shitting herself, and I was actually getting a bit scared at this point. And then she manages to like turn the TV off, but then she hears the kids scream, and she goes upstairs, and Art the Clown is standing there in all of his bloody glory, scaring the shit out of her. And she walks into the bedroom and she sees... Not going to tell you. I don't need to say that part. This is a review. But it was great. It was a great scene. The ending scene was alright, and it kind of... I'm assuming it was a feel of like that they are now one of these stories on the VHS tape. There was no real explanation of anything. You know, we don't know where this tape came from. We don't know if it got passed on. We know nothing like that. It was a bit low budget-y feel, but it didn't look low budget. I liked that. But like I said, it is worth a watch, and it does have mixed reviews. It's got favourable reviews, but kind of mixed, because it's a great looking film, and it had a good potential to be a great film, but it is missing something, or a few things. It just doesn't quite hit the mark with me. But yeah, so that was All Hallows Eve with Art the Clown. It's fucking scary. Yeah, you can get that really, really cheap. And I don't think they're making a sequel or any kind of other follow-up. Probably a good idea. Bye.